Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow to introduce myself to you. My name is Misbah Muqbil, USG Middle East Regional Marketing Manager. Welcome all of you to USG Middle East 4th technical webinar titled Guide to Specialty Sealing Solutions. We are delighted for the continuous technical summits which we are conducting on a monthly basis, where we have considered the last Tuesday of each month, 3 p.m. KSA time, to meet and present the latest technologies in the building materials industry. Please save the dates to your calendar. Your attendees and support are considered the main engine behind our success for these consecutive online events, as the collaboration in the building materials industry between supply and demand chains is critical to improving the way buildings are being constructed. At USG Middle East, we work with our partners, project stakeholders, and other businesses to work, to share, and to work the best practices and find new ways to advance the performance. For all of us, we know that the pandemic restrictions keep playing a role in changing the business's transactions. And in my personal opinion, it has influenced the building materials industry positively. It has shed the lights on the importance of the infrastructure sectors, such as transportation, education, and surely the healthcare sector, which for sure will affect the building codes for such fundamental sectors. We at USG Middle East work very close with the regulators and constructions influencers to cope with the latest regulation and with the required building codes for materials supply compliance. Today, I will share with you the newly launched portal on our online website, which will act as integrated online academy for building material science. The portal remains at the latest phase of development, where you can register to the upcoming webinars as attendees and watch the previous ones and download the questions and answers file which were raised from the expertise in the previous webinar. Soon we will publish the online products technical training videos. Please, I will put the link can see my screen. This is the newly launched.
Nerede abi? Sen nereye girdin abi?
Şu benim abi.
Ama sen gözükmüyorsun.
I would request if you attendants please just mute yourself while attending.
Tamam, çok heyecanlı.
So this is the latest portal launched by USG Middle East, where you can see the upcoming webinars agenda. It's here on the online, and you can see the past webinar, where you can download the question and answer, and you can log immediately to watch the webinar for the previous one done by us. Next time, inshallah, there will be a third tab where you can watch the entire academy for USG Middle East. So we are presenting today one technical presentation covers an interesting topic about specialty sealing design solutions, such as USG specialty sealing range for metal and non-metal, specialty sealings performance and attributes, when and why choose specialty sealings, and 2021 sealing design trends, and the last, architecture possibilities with the specialty sealings. Our mission will remain always to deliver innovations that help you to work smarter, do more, and build better. USG Middle East operation has multiple manufacturing facilities based in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, and in Doha, in Qatar, and in Turkey. That allows us to supply any project in speed and high technical support. And the company owns more than 1,300 registered patents, which is a result for our dedication of excellence and innovation. We are a single source system manufacturer for acoustical sealing and drywall partitions. Kindly note that this session will be recorded, and we will share it with you for all participants once the meeting is over. Also, kindly note that we will be handling a certificate of attendance for all of the participants of this webinar. We will be sending an email just to confirm your name and title in order to get the correct EPD certificate. Thanks to our summit webinar speaker, Mr. Wael Abdel Ghani, our Regional Technical Services Manager for USG Middle East Ceilings Range. Mr. Wael Abdel Ghani, he holds a bachelor degree in architecture engineering from Ain Shams University, and he has a wide experience throughout his career in managing a complex ceiling solutions for iconic projects across the Middle East region. Please send your questions to the chat box as we will answer all of your questions at the end of this technical event. Let me leave you with my colleague Wael for the technical webinar. Mr. Wael, you can start sharing your screen. Well, we don't hear you. If you just unmute yourself, please. Well, if you can just unmute yourself.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, well, yes.
Okay, is my screen visible?
No, yes, now it's no. Yes, working.
For the introduction, and welcome everyone for the session today for specialty ceiling. We're very delighted today to showcase our newest solutions, and USG ceilings are USG Middle East is the leader in manufacturing of ceiling suspension systems and a recognized innovator in the development of acoustical and gypsum panels, as well as specialty ceiling systems. We believe that USG Middle East products should not only bring vision to your life.
Sorry, there is some disturbance. If you just can raise your voice, please.
Yes, sure.
Please. Thank you.
We believe that USG Middle East ceiling products should not only bring visions to life, but they should also enhance and inspire those visions while reducing the building industry impact on the environment. So today we have lots of products that we would like to showcase. The premium projects often demand bespoke applications. The caliber of the project dictates the highest level of quality, design, and aesthetics combined. So we develop tailor-made and yet versatile solutions and concept for your construction projects. We have classified our specialty ceilings range into metal and non-metal solutions. So there's maybe around 15 systems for the metal category and around 5 systems that we will discuss today for the non-metal ceilings. Let's start because we have lots of things that we want to discuss and we only have 1 hour. So let's start by discussing the non-metal ceilings range first. The first system that we would like to discuss today is the Ensemble Monolithic Acoustical Ceiling. One of the disadvantages of the traditional plasterboard system is that it offers poor sound absorption. So on Monolithic Acoustical Ceiling, it's the same aesthetics and appearance as the traditional plasterboard. So you have a seamless design, monolithic design, but the main advantage is that you have high acoustic absorption with an acoustic 0.9 NRC. The system itself, it's engineered to look exactly the same as traditional plasterboard. So the components of the system are the perforated plasterboard, 12.5 millimeter thick, it's perforated, and we have a layer of fiberglass insulation on the back of it to absorb the sound. And on the surface, we have the joint compound with the USG acoustical spray. So you can see the final appearance. It looks very nice without any grid system exposed, but at the same time, the performance for the acoustics in this system is high. The next system I would like to discuss is the mono-silent system. It achieves a similar appearance as the Ensemble, but also it's like a plasterboard. However, the composition of the system is very much different. Here we have the base as a traditional plasterboard ceiling without perforation, so it's a standard plasterboard 12.5 millimeter thick. And we have the layer of fiberglass 38 millimeters thick. And the final finish is the joint compound with the acoustical spray to give the final finish of the seamless design that we're looking for. So these are all special acoustical spray that is supplied by USG in order to achieve the acoustical performance like NRC 0.9 and 0.95. This is done by using the special Ensemble spray for the Ensemble system and the mono-silent spray for this system. The main advantage of the mono-silent system is that it can also be used for retrofitting projects. So if you have a renovation that you have an existing plasterboard ceiling and you want to improve the acoustics there very quickly, you can use the standard plasterboard that's already installed and can apply the mono-silent system on top of it within a quick time frame compared to other construction projects. We also have Logix integrated system. The Logix, it's an adaptation for the 60 by 60 T-grid system, where it's not following the same module as 60 by 60. So we're using the main runner and the cross T's, which are used in the traditional ceilings, acoustical ceilings. However, here we have adapted the grid system to accommodate a narrow channel, which integrates the lighting and the services to make it more modern and more organized and more appealing. So the panel itself, whether it can be mineral fiber or metal, there's a wide variety of options for the tile itself that can be installed, but it can come without any cutouts and without any distractions for the services installed. We also have different options for the grid system itself. It can be the T15 traditional or the T24, and we also have the Identity and the DXF designer grid systems, which give a more appealing appearance. Next, we have the Luna baffles. Baffles are vertical hanging boards, so they give a vertical appearance and vertical design, and they are made out of soft fiber core with encapsulated edges. So these baffles, they give a striking appearance, and at the same time, they improve the acoustics in the room by increasing the sound absorption surface very high. The system composes of the 40 millimeter thick baffle. It can come in a variety of sizes. So the height of the baffle can be adapted. It can be starting from 100 millimeters, reaching up to 600 mm height. And the thickness is 40 mm, whereas the length of the baffle can be anywhere from 600 up to 2.4 meters. And the system is installed using the spiral anchors, which are screwed into the baffles by hand, and they are connected to hanging cables and which are suspended directly from the soffit. Of course, the baffles can come in a variety of different colors as well. So we have a selection of colors that you can choose from, and we can also match any RAL color that you require in your project. We also offer Halcyon Canopies. Halcyon are clouds or panels that are free-floating elements, and they allow the view of the bare soffit. So thanks to this open construction, they improve not only the visual appearance, but also they enhance the acoustics in your room greatly. So the Halcyon Canopies are also coming in a variety of shapes. So you can have them in rectangular panels, hexagonal, circular, triangular. there's many different shapes that you can choose from. The thickness of the board is 40 millimeters. And the panel itself can be customized in size with the width up to 1.2 meters and the length up to 2.4 meters. The installation components are similar to those of the Luna baffles. So you have the spiral anchors and you have the hanging cables suspended directly to the soffit. So regarding our metal specialty sealing range, we have a large selection of systems that we would like to showcase for our metal sealing range. First of all, let's talk about what are the advantages of metal ceilings in general. Metal ceilings have a modern high-tech appearance. They can come in exposed grid, semi-concealed grid, or concealed grid. They have many different options for the size of the panels, so they're not limited to 60 by 60 or 1200 by 600. They can come in any different size. They have different options for shapes, so you can change the shape of the panel from rectangular to trapezoidal and so on. They can come flat, inclined, even curved. And we have different options for the finishes in any RAL color that you can choose. We have wood finish and we have the anodized finish, which gives a bright, shiny appearance. The metal has more durability in terms of handling. It's not easily damaged when you're installing it. The edges do not chip. It has high humidity resistance and it's easy to clean. The materials we use for the metal ceilings are galvanized steel and aluminum. Both are available, and we can also use stainless steel in case your project requires so. The thicknesses range from 0.5 millimeters up to 1.5 for the galvanized steel and up to 3 millimeters for the aluminum, depending on the panel sizes and the project requirements. We have a wide variety of perforation options. The perforations are mainly done for aesthetic purposes, and they are also available to increase the sound absorption surface. So the more open area you have, usually it means more sound absorption and higher sound NRC. So these are the selection for our standard perforation options. We have pattern with 0.7 millimeter holes, which is the nano perforation. We have the 1.5 in diagonal and even pattern, and 1.8 diagonal and even, and we also have the 2.5 millimeter holes in even spacing. These are the selection for the standard perforations, and we also have the capability to make special perforations, and here are some options. We have the circular holes with 5 millimeter diameters, the slots or the oblongs in different sizes, the hexagonal perforation, the square. We have here two patterns called the braille, which give a random arrangement for the perforations in different sizes. We have also the triangular perforation as well. And these are just selection of the capabilities. We have much wider range, and we also have the ability to do laser cutting patterns for the designs that you require in your project. So to improve the acoustic performance, on the back of the perforated panel, we have different options. Either the panel can be plain or unperforated, or we can add the acoustical fleece, which absorbs the sound. And in order to enhance the acoustic performance further, you can add the soft fiber infill or the mineral fiber infill. And these combinations, they generate different performance for sound absorption and sound attenuation, depending on your project. So the performance of absorption can range from 0.65 all the way up to 0.95, depending on the infill used. And the CAC also varies from 14 to 35 or 40, depending on the perforation and infill used. We have a wide selection of finishes. The standard finishes are white color in RAL 9010 and RAL 9016. We also have two gray shades, which are 9006 and 9007, and the black color is also standard. But we can also do any other RAL color required in your project. So it's for metal, it's easy to customize the colors. And we also have special finishes such as the wood finish, which is powder coating on the wooden panels. So on the metal panel, sorry. So it's the metal panel, but it has the appearance of a wooden finish. And we also have specialized finish for antibacterial, which is mainly used in hospitals and places with high hygienic requirements. Now let's go and talk about the sealing systems that we're offering, the suspension systems. Starting off, we have the hook-on system. The hook-on system is one of the most popular metal systems today. This is because it allows easy accessibility to the plenum while having a concealed grid system. So here you do not see any of the suspension components visible. You only see the tiles adjacent to one another. And the suspension system composes of the metal panel, of course, and you have here the J profile, which the panel hooks onto, and you have the primary channel, which is the main profile that's carrying the rest of the sealing. This is, of course, suspended using threaded rods, and the J profile is aligned with the panel module. So here you have different panel sizes. You can customize the panel sizes depending on your project requirements. Here we have some suggestions, but these are not limitations. These are actually just different options that you can choose from, 1200 by 300 up to 2.4 by 400. These are different options that you can choose for your project. So all of the panels, they are easily accessible. You don't need to make an access window or an access panel. Every single panel is easily removable for easy maintenance and cleaning and so on. You can also use the hook-on system to make a radial sealing layout. So you have trapezoidal panels installed on the radial layout to match with your project requirements in case you have this kind of design. Next, we have the corridor system. Corridor system is designed to make projects which have high MEP service density to make it easier for the installer, in that it does not require any threaded rods at all in the center of the panel. So in case you have corridor which have high ducts, like a big density of ducts and piping and speakers and so on, sometimes it's not easy to find a location for the threaded rods to make the sealing system installed. So in this case, we developed a solution which installs on the perimeter, whether it's a plasterboard perimeter or the wall itself, with the limitation of the span being up to 2.4 meters. So here you find the fully concealed system, also suspended using the J profile, but it's suspended directly from the perimeter or from the wall without the use of any threaded rods at all. Of course, every single panel is also accessible, and this makes maintenance in places like hospitals very practical and very useful. So the corridor system, it's one of the applications that we find it is in hospitals and in main office buildings where you have high density of services. We have also the snap-in system, which is installed on the DXF grid. DXF is one of the T-grid systems that we offer. It's a standard system that we have, and usually it's installed using mineral fiber tiles and soft fiber tiles. Here we are using a metal tile to snap into the groove itself of the snap-in system to give a final appearance of 6 millimeter groove. So you can see here, the panel is, the grid system is actually concealed, and only you can see 6 millimeter gap between the panels after it's installed. So the main advantage of the system is that it installed very quickly because it's a T-grid system. So it snaps together very quickly. And the panels are also easy to install, and they offer the swing down function, which allow easy accessibility or maintenance for the soffit. The panel sizes are 600 by 600 and also 1200 by 600. A similar solution is called the lay-in geometric system. So this is also installed on a T-grid system, but mainly T15. And here you can find that the panel, it offers many appealing and attractive designs by changing the height of the panel and adapting the height in one edge where it's more deep than the other edge. So this gives you different arrangements that you can make. You can see in the picture here the design that you can achieve with the geometrics, and there's more than one option to achieve similar designs using the same basic components. By modifying the height of the panel, it can reach up to 200 mm height, and the panel size, of course, is 600 by 600, and it's a lay-in system, so it's very easy to install on the standard T-grid system. So in case you have a project that has already 60 by 60 acoustical ceiling, which is outdated and it's been installed from a long time, you can easily renovate and renew the whole ceiling in 24 hours by just supplying the tiles themselves and use the existing grid system in your project, and it will completely change the appearance of your whole project. These, of course, can be perforated or plain and in any finish as well, as we discussed before. We also have a wide variety of strip ceiling options. Strip ceiling is one of the cost-effective solutions for projects. So they are lightweight ceilings and they are not very expensive. So they offer nice appearance while maintaining low costs, and they are very widely common in the market. So here we are offering three main systems for the strip ceilings. We have here the closed gap system. So you see here the panel has a closed gap of 20 mm, and the depth of the panel is around 30 mm, and the width of the strip can be modified from 80 to 100, 150, or 200 mm. Of course, the length of the strip can reach up to 6 meters if needed. Here we have the strips which are fully concealed. So here there's no gap at all. It's zero gap between the strips. And also the same options for the module width, 80, 100, 150, and 200. And finally, here we have the system which opens an open gap, and this has a curved radius on the strip. The strip is 85 mm wide, and it's offering this open design. And in case you prefer to close the gap, we can also offer this closure fixture, which it's installed between the strips, and it gives a different appearance using the same components. So in total, after the closure strip is installed, the module is around 100 mm from center to center. We also offer the open cell system, or the Quardra Cell. And this is also commonly used. You might have seen it installed in many of the shopping malls and shopping centers. The main advantage of this system is that it offers easy integration for the services. So they don't need to make cutouts for the fire sprinklers and diffusers and so on. They can use the existing gaps in the open cell to integrate the services. It's also a cost-efficient ceiling system, so it's not very expensive. And here we are offering different options for the module sizes. The cell size can be 50 by 50, 75 by 75, 100 by 100, and up to 200 by 200. This is for the traditional open cell system. And we also offer the pyramid or the Y-shaped section, which also comes in a variety of sizes, as you can see in this picture. Next, we have the linear track system, which is a heavy-duty ceiling system which can accommodate MEP services and integration with lots of fixtures. The system composed of linear channels, which can come in a variety of widths, starting from 100 mm up to 300 mm. And you can make cutouts for the lighting fixtures to accommodate lighting and air diffusers if needed. And here the panel lays on to the linear track channel, and it offers similar design for the logics which we discussed before, but it's been completely metal system. Of course, the panels can be perforated, and the strips, usually they come in plain, and they can come in a variety of colors as discussed before. Next, we have the Intersecto system. Intersecto, it's one of the most common ceiling systems for universities and educational facilities. It composes of the crossing box, which can come in a variety of sizes, up from 100 mm by 100 up to 300 mm by 300, or sorry, 250 by 250. And the lay-in panel, it lays onto the strips, which are connected to the crossing boxes. So first, the construction is done by installing the crossing boxes and the plain strips. And then you have an open gap which you can install the 60 by 60 tile, whether it's one tile or it can be actually many tiles. And the module itself can be easily adaptable. So you can have this gap up to 1.2 by 1.2 or different sizes as needed for your project. So it's an easily configurable system that can reach many different design solutions. We also have the island hook-on ceiling system. The island hook-on, it's designed to combine many ceiling panels together to form ceiling clouds, which improve the aesthetics of your project and as well as improving the acoustics and adding the more sound absorptive surface for your project. So here you can see the panels are combined together to create one large island. And of course, the island can be in any different size that you require, depending on the panel sizes themselves. The suspension system, of course, is fully concealed behind the panels, and all of the panels are easily accessible. So you can see the panels are 1.8 by 400 and can reach up to 2.4 meters in length. And this can mean that you can create large islands depending on your project. In one of the projects, they required laser cut panels to make a unique design for their office. And here we can see that the panels are creating the island hook on ceiling using the laser cut perforated design. And of course, here they chose a RAL color, which is light blue. And here it shows also different finishes that we offer. One of the most popular ceiling systems are the metal baffles. Metal baffles are trending nowadays. It's one of the most commonly asked for ceiling solutions in our company. They offer a unique aesthetic visual while offering excellent sound absorption. This is because of the increased surface area that comes from having vertical elements. So the width, height, and spacing of the baffles can be easily customized to meet your project needs. And the baffles can be done in wood finish or in powder coated in any RAL color as required. So here we see the system components. They consist of the main carrying channel, which is suspended using the threaded rods. And here we have the locking tabs, which install the baffles in place very precisely in the right spacing that you require. So depending on your project requirements, we will have the carrying channel designed to accommodate the spacing in exactly the right dimensions as required. The height of the baffle can start from 100 mm up to 250 mm, and the width of the baffle can start from 30 and can reach up to 150 mm. And the clear space, of course, it can start from 30 mm and can reach any spacing that you require. And the length of the baffles can be up to 2.4 meters. Here we have also the crossing baffles. The crossing baffles are an adaptation for the metal baffle ceilings. And here we have in the picture, it shows the crossing baffles in wood finish in one of the projects that we supplied. So the system consists of the same carrying channel and the same baffles, whereas here we have included additional crossing baffles that are suspended directly onto the existing baffles that we have already discussed, using very easy to install brackets. And the system is very practical and it's easily customized for your project. So we can also modify the spacing and the module for this crossing baffle to meet your project needs. Finally, we have the Torsion spring system, which is one of the most customizable ceiling systems today. It can easily be adapted to meet any shape required and any module size. Here we also have the suspension system. It's fully concealed, and you can find here that the panels, they are made out of triangular shape, or they can come in rectangular, or in a variety of different shapes and sizes. So the length of the panels can reach up to 2.4 meters, and the width can be up to 1.2 meters. The shapes, of course, are any available shapes required. So here you can find the system components are the double slotted carrying channel. And we have here fixed to it is the primary channel with the slots, which accepts the panel with the torsion spring bracket installed into it. Of course, this system, it's highly engineered depending on your project, and it requires lots of engineering work before the panel is delivered to make sure that it fits perfectly in your project. These are just a selection of the systems that we offer. We are able to modify and create bespoke solutions for your projects depending on any project requirements that you have. We are able to design ceiling solutions that are able to meet these requirements and offer impressive and exciting visual appearances that have high functionality and meet your project needs. So we went through lots of systems in quite a quick time. I was worried that we will not have enough time, but good that we have a lot of time for questions. Please, Musbah, if you can compile. I saw when we were presenting, lots of people had some questions, so we can start now with the question and answer session, if you don't mind.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Wael Abdul Ghani, for this technical presentation. Personally, always I'm inspired by Wael's presentations. Always he's doing a nice job for the latest innovation and technology, inspired by our customers, as we are a customer-centric company, always trying to innovate a new ceilings model. So as we said, this was the fourth technical webinar for USG Middle East, and we are scheduling the fifth webinar on the 30th of March, hosted by our colleague, Mr. John Andrews, our technical sales manager in the UAE office, where we will present the drywall for exterior applications and drywall for wet areas featuring Securock and Durock products. So stay tuned for the coming webinar on 30th of March, and we will be sending you the invitation within the next weeks. As we said, that each participant will receive an 1 hour credit for continuing professional development CPD certificate after this webinar. Going back to Wael Abdul Ghani request for the questions, please just type your question in the chat box and we will reply for your answer immediately. Well, if you allow me to start, if you can just stop sharing the screen and let's start seeing your picture bigger scale. Let's people sees you. And let's start asking you the question for the presentation material. One of the colleagues has asked if you could share the presentation hosted by the host. And I will answer yes. It will be available to an online website shortly, and we will send it as well as with the certificates of attendance. Well, there is another question for the seamless ceiling, which are the monosilent and the ensemble. The question is, are these systems paintable?
They come with the acoustical paint, and they are special paint that allows for the sound absorption. So it's not recommended to paint them by the contractor. So in case you have specific requirements for coloring, we can adapt our special paint with a specific dye that can meet the color that you require. However, it's recommended to use our paint in order to have the same performance of acoustics that you require without compromise.
So is it a factory applied paint or it can be painted at site? Well,
no, the spray paint is done on site. We supply the spray paint and contractors apply the spray that we deliver.
Another question from Mr. Rawad Al-Walla saying that can we choose a pattern and color to be applied on the Luna buffel?
The color can be chosen, of course. We have a wide selection of colors that you can choose from. In terms of pattern, I think it's mainly plain finish, so it's not feasible to have patterns printed onto the Luna, but we can offer different colors. If you require patterns, then I suggest going to buffels. That would give you the different patterns that you can do.
And just to remind that the Luna Buffel is one of the soft fiber, of the non-metallic specialty sealing selection. Another question, Wael, for the trapezoid sealing, does it come with a bulkhead profile, and can it come with a full perforation?
Yes, we do offer perimeter solutions with bulkhead solutions depending on the project. So if you have different levels in the ceiling, we do offer the different bulkhead solutions. And of course, the panel can come as fully perforated or with a plain border, depending on your requirement. Both options are available.
Going back while to ceiling, could it be used for data centers?
For data centers, yes, you can use them. It will improve the acoustic performance greatly in data centers. It's a very versatile sealing solution that can be used in pretty much every space. It's made out of stone wool core, so it's not affected by humidity and it's not affected by fire. So it's very easy to install it in anywhere, even if you have an existing project that's already constructed and you want to improve the acoustics. It's one of the products that you can use and install it. The project's already finished to improve the acoustics in your city, whether it's a data center or a classroom or a corridor. It's very versatile solution that can be used pretty much everywhere.
Thank you, Wael. Let's come to the span of 2.4 meter. How the joint can be conceived?
Say for which system? For the corridor system?
Yes. If the span is 2,400 millimeter.
Yes, correct. Yes, for the corridor system, we have the span 2.4 meters and it's hidden behind the panel. So I'll go to the slide now. The detail.
Yes, this is the system wide.
So here you can see sorry. Here you can see that the sealing system is the system is concealed behind the panels with a hook solution. So the J bar is installed onto the L angle, and then the panel is onto the J profile. The only thing here is that you have a small gap of 15 millimeter, which is used to install the panel, but it's still enclosed and it's not exposed to the soffit. So it's already a closed because of this L angle.
So it's considered under the concealed sealing system as well. Is the right question?
Yeah, it's a concealed sealing system because you cannot see the suspension system. Yes.
One interesting question: what is the maximum length for the corridor system one?
The panel itself can reach up to 2.4 meters, but in case you have a corridor wider, for example, if your corridor it's 3 meters or more, then you can have a plasterboard perimeter next to the panel, and this will accommodate the extra space that you have more than 2.4. So the limitation for the metal panels is 2.4 meters, but you can have plasterboard perimeters in case you have a wider corridor.
Well, we consider that the specialty sealing are a load-bearing sealing, and how they can withstand top deflection.
Of course, the specialty ceilings, there are a variety of solutions. So we have high heavy-duty systems such as the hook-on and the torsion spring and the linear track. And we have other systems like the strip sealing and the open cell, which are not designed to accommodate high weights. So depending on your requirements, we have the suitable solution that can meet your requirements. In general, most of the metal sealing systems are able to withstand heavy loads and are designed to be installed in airports and different environments that require high requirements in terms of load-bearing capacity. For deflection, this is controlled by managing the material thickness to propose the right thickness for your project, and by modifying the panel size in order not to have a huge panel that will create deflection. So if the panel is too big, even if it can be manufactured, it might cause deflection. That's why we always recommend to have panel sizes not exceeding 1 square meter per panel as a general rule.
about the wall cladding? What would be our solutions for the wall cladding, Wael?
We do have wall clad solutions in metal. In this presentation, I was mainly focusing on the ceiling solutions. We might have to do another webinar for the wall cladding, but we do have metal wall cladding systems that can be installed in your project, and they are made out of aluminum in 2 millimeter thick, and they are also hook-on systems for the walls. So in case you require more details, I suggest sending us an email with your project requirements and details, and we will be happy to share all related data for the solution.
And these are soundproof, acoustical wall cladding panels and impact-resistant wires?
Yes, so for the wall cladding, we increase the material thickness in order to have it more accommodating for impact. So usually with the minimum thickness we use is 2 millimeters, and we can also add infill, whether it's a gypsum board infill or mineral fiber infill, to improve the acoustics and sound blocking between one room and another, and also to improve the impact resistance. So we do offer these kind of solutions. Yes.
What about the seismic solution, Wael, for the conventional ceiling system, 60 by 60, and for the specialty? There are a couple of questions about the seismic, so please, if you can just elaborate based on your experience for the seismic solutions.
Yes, so seismic solutions in general, when we talk about seismic, there are 3 main factors which affect the seismic requirements. First requirement is the geographical location of your project. So some areas in the world are more inclined to have earthquakes than others. So some places like Japan has higher risk of having an earthquake compared to places like Saudi Arabia, for example. So this is one aspect which affects the performance of seismic required. Another aspect is the type of soil that your project is located on. So if it's soft soil or like sand, or if it's rock or solid soil, it will affect the seismic risk. And also the third part about seismic requirement is the type of building that you have, whether it's a military application or an airport. These kinds of applications, they have vibrations occurring in the building itself. So these 3 factors altogether define what kind of seismic solution is required. And this dedicates whether you have different categories for seismic. So starting from category A up till category F, A, B, C, D, E, F. And F being the most severe case for places like in California and Japan, where they have earthquakes occurring very frequently. These buildings need to be designed as category F. And in that case, you would require heavy-duty grid system with bracings, diagonal bracings taking place to fix the ceiling in place. And you would also require accessories at the perimeters to make sure that the grid system does not move at all. So it's a ceiling designed to withstand earthquakes and seismic application as much as possible. So the seismic performance, it differs from the category of the building. So in case you don't have high seismic requirements, then it's not correct to over-design your ceiling, because it will be very expensive and it will be very complicated for installation. So the best solution is to know exactly the requirement of the project, and then we would be able to offer the most suitable seismic design suitable for your project based on the 3 factors that I mentioned before: the location and the building application and the type of soil required category of the building.
A reminder for all attendees, USG has different technical support offices spread all around the Middle East, and we are happy to receive your technical inquiry for any project under design or under construction to receive the most updated and the correct technical information which are in compliance with the code, special to such very deep technical question for the seismic and other questions. While for the coming back for the non-perforated panel and the acoustic performance. So as an expert, the question is for the non-perforated metal systems, does the metal systems influence the acoustic performance negatively or positively? And other question, what about the reverberation time for the plain non-perforated?
Oh, that's a good question. So now when we talk about acoustic performance, there's 2 types of acoustic performance. There's the sound absorption and there's the sound attenuation. So there's opposite performances that you might require. For example, if you are sitting in a room with many people inside it and lots of noise, you would be looking for the surfaces in the room to absorb the sound so that it reduces the reverberation. And here you would look for materials that have high NRC or high absorption. Whereas if you're sitting in a private office and there are not that many people inside the room, but you're looking for more privacy, in this case, you would look for a ceiling system that has more high attenuation or high CAC. So the performance differs depending on the type of application or the type of use that you're looking for. Now, regarding this question about plain unperforated tiles, whether they impact negatively or positively, high privacy requirement, then it would impact positively because the plain unperforated tile will offer more CAC compared to a perforated tile. It will offer more blocking of sound. Whereas if you're in an open space and you're looking for high absorption, then the plain tile would not perform as well. It will be very low NRC, maybe it will be 0.1 or 0.5 or something like this. And it will not perform as well as the perforated tile in terms of acoustic absorption. So it really depends on the application and the use that you're looking for. When you're talking about reverberation time, this is the result of several factors. One of them is the materials inside the room and the absorptive materials, whether it's ceilings or walls and so on, how much NRC each of the material has. And also it's affected by the volume or the height of the room itself. So the bigger the volume, the more reverberation you have. So it's a complete study for the whole room, taking into consideration the dimensions of the room and the materials of the surfaces, whether it's for ceiling, wall, and flooring, and also the furniture and so on. And the result of all these factors combined will give you the reverberation time in seconds, and it will be easy to study whether to see whether the materials you have selected are achieving a comfortable environment for the users or not, based on the full study.
While moving from the acoustic and the reverberation time for the fire, for the corridor ceiling system, what would be the maximum, or for any other specialty ceiling system, what would be the fire rating value we can reach? That's the first part of the question. The second part, and for having an opening, such as lighting, HVAC, and other services, how this can happen without affecting the rigidity of the panels?
Okay, so for fire, we're talking about, there's two different aspects for fire performance. The fire performance, there is one test called the E84 test in ASTM, and this measures the flame spread and the smoke development from burning the material. So all of our materials in our product range are Class A as per ASTM 84, which is the highest certification in ASTM standards. This means that the panels do not catch combustion easily, and even if they do not emit that much smoke that will be harmful for the people in case of fire. So this is the most important aspect when it comes to fire performance, which is the fire reaction performance. There is another aspect of fire performance, which is the fire resistance, and this is the full study of the ceiling when the ceiling assembly, not just the ceiling as a tile, it's also taking into consideration the lighting fixtures, the air conditioning diffusers, the plenum depth and the air conditioning, all the service of the plenum as a whole, and it's measuring the time it will take for the whole ceiling to fail after burning for some time. So this test is E119 as per ASTM standards, and this is a different test which has dedicated testing from UL labs and other laboratories that make the complete tests, such as same as we have for the wall systems, but it's only for ceilings, and it's made for the complete assembly of the ceiling panels and the lighting diffusers and so on. Of course, having more fixtures in your ceiling will affect the fire resistance performance greatly. However, the fire reaction, which is the flame spread, is not affected by that many openings. It depends on the material.
Well, there is a mix of question between aesthetic and the fire and acoustic performance. So another question for the aesthetic look. When you installed a buffet system, what do you recommend to have a color for the slab? For aesthetic more appeal of the slab?
Yes, personally, I prefer to have a dark background. So the black background, it looks more appealing because it accentuates the baffles themselves. They look much better when you have a dark background. So usually in many projects, they paint the soffit in black and even the surfaces, whether it's the air conditioning diffusers and so on, and all the piping and so on, they are painted in black color just to make sure that the baffles are more visible and more attenuated.
So you prefer to have a contrast between the baffle and the slab?
Yes, correct.
Well, for heavy area application as heavy traffic for hospital and airport, which system do you recommend?
Well, the project, it's a huge project and there's many different areas in the project. So for example, if you're talking about the corridors, I would recommend the corridor system. If you're talking about open areas, maybe the torsion spring system would be suitable, or the hook-on system. For example, the toilets could be like a standard clipped-in ceiling without perforation. You can have solution for the walls. There's many different areas in the airport that you can use different ceiling types depending on the area itself. And I don't recommend using one ceiling type for the whole project.
Going to the lead, you know well now we are going green and USG remain committed to the environment and for our recycling products. So for the recycle, what's our sustainable and recycled content for our products?
Yes, that's a good question. We have recycled content for the aluminum and for the steel products. They are different performances. So I believe for the aluminum, it's around 25% to 30%, if I'm not mistaken. And steel also, it's somewhere in that range. But we can double check the figures and we can send you the exact details. They will be mentioned on the website for sure, and in our product catalog, which can be downloaded from the website. So the exact figures will be mentioned there, but in general, we do have high recycled content for both aluminum and for the steel products.
One of the latest project was fully supplied by USG for the green in Kuwait is KGOC. It's really, we received the LEED gold certificate for installing our products. So just to confirm, majority of our products are compliant with the LEED requirements, which will increase your LEED score for the building. Thanks for the innovation which we are having and commitment to the environment. While for the load, do we submit a load calculation for the ceiling? Is there any criteria for having the calculation for load for the full ceiling systems?
Yes, for our standard ceiling systems, we do have the calculations readily available. And in case you have a project that has a specialty ceiling system, then this can be done based on the project requirements. We can coordinate with the customer, see exactly what's required, and we can offer the calculation based on the exact design that we are offering. So depends on the project, of course. Usually the weight of the ceiling system in metal, it's ranging around 10 to 12 kilograms per square meter. So we're not talking about a heavy, very heavy system in general, but depending on your project, this might vary, and we are happy to help our customers with having the load calculations for the projects, depending on the specialty ceiling that they are required.
While for going back for the baffle ceiling, do we have any solution to close the gaps between the baffles?
Yes, we do have a solution which installs linear strips between the gaps of the baffles. I suggest for the kind guest who's asking this question to send us the project details, and we will be happy to send him the details and the solution for this project that shows the details that we're offering for having strips, metal strips, closing the gaps between the baffles themselves.
Thank you. While for the Ensemble system, what would be the highest NRC values can be achieved?
Yes, the highest can be achieved is the 0.9 NRC, and this can be achieved using, I believe it's a 90 mm. Yeah, so
if you allow me one.
Used, yes, there are different options for the insulation used, and I think we can achieve 0.9 NRC based on using 90 millimeter glass wool, which is 14 kg density.
Yes, all a stone wool for 50 mm thick for 40 kg cubic meter we can achieve. It's also based on the spacing for the slab. So 0.9 can be achieved either by the glass wool or by the stone wool for different thickness, thicknesses and different density materials. Really, the Ensemble and the monosilent are one of the latest innovation for the monolithic acoustical sealing. Do we have a special edge trim solution for the abnormal geometry?
Yes, as usual for the specialty sealing, we have the U-channel perimeter trims, and these are designed for having cut panels installed, especially when we're talking about metal panels. We have the U-trim solution, which is easy to accommodate cut panels in metal sealing. And we also offer the standard traditional L angle, line angle, which are traditional perimeter trims available for our various sealing solutions, like the mineral fiber and soft fiber sealing.
While going to the commercial side, is there any minimum order quantity for the specialty sealing?
Usually, there's no quantity. We have done small projects and we have done large projects. There's no real requirement for minimum quantity. And it's better to coordinate with the project sales team. As Misbah mentioned, we have a dedicated project sales team throughout the Middle East. We have different offices, whether it's in Saudi Arabia or in Dubai or in Qatar, in different areas in the Middle East. We have dedicated project sales team. And we will be happy to help your project and support your project in any of the Middle East areas.
Thank you, Wael. For the monolithic sealing, do we support any access panels integrated with the systems?
Yes, we do offer access panels. That's a good question because the monolithic sealing will require access panels for accessibility. Of access panels that you can offer, you will find them available on our website, and they are available. Yes, correct.
Thank you. Well, I have here the last question, and I hope that in this, if they can just send a question so we can answer them immediately. The last question for the perforation: how the perforation affect the acoustic performance for the specialty sealing systems?
Yes, so perforation usually have different sizes of perforation. So the bigger the open area, usually this means a higher acoustic absorption and higher NRC. And also it's affected by the infill that you are using. So there's many ways to achieve the NRC that you require, either by modifying the perforation itself or by changing the infill that you're using, whether it's an acoustic freeze or adding a soft fiber infill, increasing the thickness of the infill. There are many different variations that you can do and combinations to achieve a specific NRC performance that you're looking for. So we have.
What would be the highest NRC for the perforation? Is part of the question.
0.95 NRC is the highest that we able to achieve. This is done using the 1.8 diameter perforation with a 38 millimeter soft fiber infill.
Thank you, Wael. For the Quardra Cell system, open cell, can we have it in a wood finish?
At the moment, it's challenging to do the wood finish on the Quardra Cell. We suggest going with the standard colors, whether it's white or even annual color. However, if the project requires a high quantity, for example, 5,000 square meters or more, then we will be able to offer this wood finish for such a high quantity. But for normal project sizes, it will not be that feasible.
And the same system, can it be used for wall panels and wall partitions?
The Quardra Cell?
Yes.
No, it's not really suitable for wall panels. It's made out of very thin material. It's made out of 0.5 aluminum, and it's not one of the heavy-duty systems. It's actually one of the less durable ceilings. It's more cost-effective solution designed for more budget projects, and so it's not one of the high-end solutions. So we don't recommend using it for walls.
So it's meant for ceiling covering.
Yes, correct.
So, well, up to now, this was the last question. Really, it was a very interesting session. We have covered the systems design for 2021, the questions raised by the expertise. Honestly, it's something, the performance, the fire, and the mechanics, as well as the loading. So another question came to the box for the monosilent. For the application of the monosilent, is it required to be executed by a certified applicator? Very interesting question.
Actually, what we usually do is we have supervision done for the first day of installation to demonstrate how the installation is done. This is done by our project sales team or from one of our experts in the Middle East. And they showcase how the correct installation method is done, make sure that it's installed properly. And then the contractor or the installer can carry on following our recommended procedure. So any installer can do it, but actually after following our demonstration and making sure that they follow the correct procedure.
Well, I'll ask another question for the monosilent. So is it this procedure which we are following for the installation supervision, is it only for the monosilent?
No, this applies mainly for all of the specialty sealing solutions. So in general, because the specialty sealing are not traditional sealing systems, they are mainly new. Many of the installers are not familiar with these systems. So it's best to offer the supervision and make sure that the customer or the installer is aware of the components and where everything goes and how everything is applied. So we offer this service in terms of demonstrating our solution for the projects that have specialty sealing systems installed.
Thank you, Wael. Please let us know if you have any further questions so we can answer your question. And if you don't have, Wael, please, if you can just type your email address to the chat box, and I will share it with everyone. So if they have any technical question after this webinar, they can approach you immediately.
Actually, I'm having a challenge to access the chat box.
I will write for you, Wael, don't worry. So we will put our colleague, Mr. Wael Abdel Ghani, email address. I hope that everyone can receive the message. It's Wael Abdel Ghani. His email address is visible here. As we said, all the questions and answers will be published on our online website and on the social media as well, soon later next week. Two questions came to the chat box. Does the quality of punching for the metal tiles affect the duration of fire resistance?
When we're talking about fire resistance as a full assembly, yes, it will affect the duration. However, the fire reaction, which is the flame spread and smoke development, which is measured in ASTM E84, this will not be affected by the punctures in the metal tile.
Another commercial question for the delivery time. What are the delivery time for the specialty sealing?
It depends on the project and the complexity, and it depends. But we usually what we offer is better lead times than most of the other market players, whether the European ones or the Asian ones, because of mainly transportation. It's quicker, and of course our production facility is made out of the highest, latest technology machines, and the lead time can range from 2 weeks up to 6 weeks, for example, depending on the complexity of the project. It's really depending on the project.
Thank you, Wael, for the closure of this meeting. And thanks all for attending our fourth consecutive online webinar. Stay tuned for our coming webinar, as said, on the 30th of March, 2021, which will be hosted by our colleague, John Andrews, our technical sales manager in the UAE office. The title of the webinar will be Drywall for Exterior Application and Drywall for Wet Areas, Featured, Secure, and Durable. Again, thank you, Wael, for this really amazing online webinar. Thanks to you all for attending this online technical webinar. All your questions are welcome to the privately with Mr. Wael Abdel Ghani after this webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.